Greg.
Hey, hi
Hey,
guys.
how you doing, dude? I'm so sorry. Like we're just doing like some last minute. I totally forgot to go on and add you on there. So I'm sorry. Is it?
No,
How do you pronounce it? Is it Draven or Draven?
Draven, like
Draven.
Raven with a D in front of it, Draven.
Oh, that's awesome. You are an actor. I gotta go back in my notebook too, cause Slim took my notebook and he's flipping pages. Actor from Eastbourne, England, correct?
That's correct, yeah, right down on the south coast of England.
Cool. How long have you been acting for?
I'd probably argue my entire life, but professionally, probably making a living from it around about 2.5 years. So I'm pretty new into my career.
Oh wow.
So you say your entire life, like what were you doing then before?
Oh, so before that,
professional.
bouncing from job to job, I worked for our local government for about 12, 13 years. Before that, bounced from job to job. But I've always sought avenues to perform and entertain people throughout my life. But now I've just decided that I want to make my living doing it and support my family by doing what I love doing.
That's awesome. Did you have any professional acting training?
So I undertook 2 years of drama training when I was young, so around about 12 or 13 years old with Brighton Drama Centre. But after that, I became quite expensive. My mum was a single parent. Did
Yeah.
everything she could to raise me well, but it just got too expensive, so I couldn't afford it. And then kind of responsibility and regular working hit after school and college. So yeah, the dream was put on hiatus for a while.
I
But,
love that you
but
went back to it though. I think that's amazing.
it was kind of terrifying as well because I'm 42 now, so I
Okay.
was about 39 when I decided to do this, go self-employed, and just make my living from performing one way or another. So I do voice work. Actually, my voice is pretty crappy this evening, so I'm just getting over a cold. So
Me
that's not a
too.
great advert, is it?
Me too, man. No, I love the voice. You definitely have a great voice.
So I do voice work, comparing, hosting, emceeing, but my heart really is in acting one way or another.
That's great. And is it more film acting or like play, like live acting?
So it's more TV and film at the moment. I've just got involved with a production group called Dark Side Productions, and we're doing the death and rebirth of the Hippodrome Theatre, which is a local theatre in Eastbourne, and it's very, very close to my heart because it was actually the first place I saw a theatre production when I was young, and it's one of the few independent cinemas in Eastbourne that's not run by the local authority. So it's being put on at the Hippodrome, and I've been pulled in to help perform it, and we've done a couple of rehearsals, and it's going to be a great little show.
That's great. That's great. What do you feel when you audition for a part? Are you usually typecast? Because you seem to me like you could play a biker or like a medieval like henchman or something. Like you have that look.
Or nerdy
Yeah.
comic book guy.
Oh, what was that?
That was Slim.
I said or nerdy comic book guy.
Yeah, it's always the way, if I'm going to be typecast as nerdy comic book guy, then I understand they're rebooting Jay and Silent Bob. So, guys, hit me up.
Yes.
That'd be sweet. That'd be sweet. Yes, I am. Quite clearly, I'm typecast as biker, heavy metal band member, which was the Haribo advert that I did.
Yes.
Viking, or normally kind of stupid friend, much like Nick Frost in Shaun of the Dead.
Like the
Oh, okay,
bumbling
cool.
friend.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
That's some pretty great stuff though. Like to get. I love that.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice. The Game of Thrones look, the beard and the hair is kind of popular at the moment. But hair can be hidden. The beard, for the right job, would come off.
I was
or
gonna
get
ask.
smaller.
I was gonna ask if you would ever shave for a role.
Yes, yeah, I would, because I have to be realistic. Excuse me. I have to be realistic. If the right job came along, that was able, that paid well, then I would consider it. In fact, I was asked recently. I worked up at Leavesden Studios for Warner Brothers. I did 5 days up at Warner Brothers on a production.
Wow.
And part of the deal of me doing the work, I said to the I think it was the third AD that I spoke to and auditioned through. It's kind of a bizarre project. Can't talk too much about it, but next year is going to be the year where it's out. I said the deal is you can't shave the beard because I'm filming a commercial next week that requires the beard.
Oh.
And 3 days into it, they asked how much I'd charge to shave the beard off because they needed me to do more and actually fulfill the role more that I was doing, and they couldn't do it with just beard inserts. I needed to basically have a completely different beard. So yeah, they asked me, and I've always, when I've done low budget stuff and they say, oh, will you shave your beard for us? We're paying £60 a day. I'm like, no, you can fuck off. That's not going to happen.
Yes.
But when Warner Brothers comes to you and says, how much will you charge us to shave your beard? Then they're serious and they're not going to cock around.
You take that.
Luckily,
beard.
Luckily they didn't.
Nah, that's good. Did you have a part in Justice League?
I did. Look, I'm representing today, as you can see here.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course, sad time for comic book fans, isn't it? At the moment.
Yeah, we were
really sad time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did have a part in Justice League. I signed on. So this was May 2016, and I'm not going to make any more of it than it was. I signed on as an extra to play a Viking in the kind of flashback scene where Steppenwolf is attacking to try and get the mother box, but we managed to beat him off. Not beat him off like that. That's a totally different movie.
Totally different movie.
Slim wants to see that movie.
DC XXX.
That'd be messy. So yeah, we managed to vanquish him and bury the mother box. And very, very luckily, on the first day that I worked on Justice League, Zack Snider kind of picked me out on the crowd to do some featured work. And lots of extras. It's kind of a cool way. If you're getting into acting, it's great to be an extra. Go on set, see how the big boys do it, get some set experience, because there's nothing worse than an actor that doesn't know their way around a set.
Wow.
So yeah, get some set experience.
Get an idea.
And some money.
I had actually read that before because I was studying film when I was younger, and they always recommend get a job as a runner where you're just getting coffee for like people.
Just to know how it goes down. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. And over here, I mean, the landscape of acting over this side of the pond is slightly different to your side. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. So there are lots of people that make a good living through doing extra work. But if you want to take your career as an actor seriously and you step up and you start undertaking roles with lines and actual acting, you can't then go back to doing extra work, otherwise people don't take you seriously here. Whereas I'm led to believe in America, loads of actors that are principal or supporting actors in regular shows will still do extra work for other shows because it brings money in. But
and you would love to see that guy. You would love to see whatever Ben Affleck in the back.
Yeah, we call it cameos.
Yeah. Like we were saying, Jay and Silent Bob. It's got tons of cameos. It's got it's got all that going on.
But over here, they don't. You're not taken seriously if you go back down to doing extra work. So you've then got to say, or you do it, but you actually truly try and be in the background and not be noticed, which loads of extras always want to make sure their faces on camera and get their little moment of glory.
Get my good side.
So extra work is like bottom of the barrel, and if you ever go back to that, you're like
if you go back to that, people don't take you seriously.
That's weird.
But I lucked out and I got featured on the very first day. Zack Snyder started having to give me direction because he wanted me to do some specific stuff. Luckily, because I'm an actor, I can take direction, and it's actually quite amazing how when you see someone that says, "Oh yeah, I can do that," and then they can't, excuse me, and then they can't take direction. So the director gets a bit frustrated. So I a bit luckily, I was able to take direction.
That's
so
cool.
Got off on a good foot. He then called on me the next day to do some more work. I'm not going to lie about this. This is pretty sweet. On on the second day after we came on set, again just as an extra, he came over and he was like, "Greg, I just want to let you know, great job yesterday." And I was like, "The motherfucker remembered my name."
Yes,
That's awesome.
yes, all of it. Wow, good job.
Was he cool? Did you like Zach?
Sorry?
Was he cool? Was he like a cool dude?
Zach, I'm not going to lie, was a fucking pleasure to work for.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Cool.
He's on, I don't know if you know of a social network called Vero, Vero. It's supposed to be like a Facebook contender. I mean, it's not quite, it's not that big, but Zack Snider is a brand advocate of Vero, and I joined Vero because it's very good for creatives, for publishing your work out there, and we connected on Vero and actually chat occasionally on Vero, which is nice, and he remembers me from that.
Cool.
So I'm not going to lie, that's kind of, I made a good impression for a director who actually, we don't talk about Sucker Punch, but Watchmen. 300,
great, yeah.
Just some of my favorite movies.
I kind of like Sucker Punch. I do. I don't know.
I didn't hate it. I liked it. Yeah,
that was almost like a Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He gets a lot of slack for what he's done in the DC universe, and I'm like, it's not that bad, like.
So I've got a behind the scenes perspective of that, and this is how Zach and I actually connected on Vero. Somebody started asking me questions about my time working with Zach and how much we filmed and how much was cut out. Zack Snyder is a magnificent director, one of my favorite directors. He truly knows how to take comic book characters and portray them on screen. Absolutely stunning.
Watchmen was panel for panel, which was amazing. Like, he changed like a little tiny detail, but other than that, it was like panel for panel, word for word, and he made it work. And that I thought was amazing.
Yeah. Truly was. So he has a vision and he sees what he wants and he can deliver. The problem, and this is the sad thing. I'm a massive Batman fan. My son Hunter, who's currently asleep in bed, he adores Batman and the Justice League. And
wait! I'm gonna cut you off because I know where this is going. It was all Ben Affleck's fault.
No. Ben Affleck was great as Batman.
I've heard some people. I've heard mixed, but I've heard a lot of people say he was great as Batman.
He was great. I briefly got to meet him and Gal and Jason Momoa very, very briefly because I was in the flashback scene, so we weren't actually filming anything together, but I did get to meet them briefly. But I thought Batfleck was. I gave him some shit when I realised it was him, but he delivered. He played the older Batman brilliantly. I was, I would go as far to say after Kevin Conroy, Ben Affleck's my favorite Batman.
That's awesome.
I've heard a lot of people say that. I've heard a lot of people agree.
So sorry, I had cut you off. You were talking about your son being a big Batman fan, and we were kind of getting to like why you think the DC universe movies didn't really work.
So we filmed a shit ton of stuff for our scenes, and it was cut to shreds, absolutely cut to shreds. So much extra was filmed. Loads of fans are begging for Warner Brothers to release the Snider Cut, which they say don't exist, but some inside sources say there is a Snider Cut. Obviously, Zach had to, due to creative differences, and sadly his daughter committing suicide, had to pull out of the project. And I believe that the studio, rather than put a good 3-hour film in a cinema, say for 3 times a day, so a 10-hour day, 3-hour film, you're only going to get 3 showings. Let's put a 2-hour film in 5 times a day.
Let's get the popcorn flick.
Bring more money in, but they produced a poorer film, and I'm very sad to say that Justice League isn't the greatest of films, and it should be. It should be.
You know what's a real
They
shame?
really should have, especially when Marvel is the competition and they're putting out bangers left and right.
And what's a shame, which I know you probably realize this too, is that like DC makes some amazing animated films.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I pick them up sometimes at the store, and I'm like, I want to see this. There's a newer one, and it's got actually a mature rating on it. It looks
like why can't you just do that in live action? Like,
I picked up one for my son last year.
Killing Joke, the animation of Killing Joke was awesome. The animation of Gotham by Gaslight, I loved that it was different to the graphic novel.
Dark Knight Returns.
Oh yeah. Dark stuff. But also, they can make fucking amazing DC Universe movies. Wonder Woman. That shows they can do it.
I've heard that.
So I actually heard. I'm sorry, Rob's trying to actually questions, and I'm nerding out with you.
Something to go to.
But I do have one more thing. Is I actually had heard that apparently Aquaman is getting good reviews, and somebody compared it to it's like watching an MMA fight in an aquarium, and that's apparently a good thing. Now.
Underwater Fight Club. That's what it is.
I'm looking forward to seeing Aquaman. I'm at my heart. I'm DC through and through. The greatest superhero to me is Batman. The problem I have is the Marvel universe is so rich. You know, they have just worked so hard. But
Yes.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it, and I pray to the gods that it's awesome. It needs to be. You know.
Greg, I want to ask you before we get any farther, what is 13 Graves?
Oh, okay. Nice. Let's see what you did there. So, 13 Graves is an independent horror movie that I starred in. We filmed it last year, just about this time last year. We finished on November the 3rd last year. We filmed it in 13 days. It's a full feature-length folk horror. So, do you know Ben Wheatley at all?
No.
Okay. He's there's a film that I recommend you watch called Kill List. It's an English folk horror film that I'm not going to actually tell you anymore. It is one of the few films that really made me feel horrible, and I love horror films. And Ben Wheatley's Kill List made me feel horrible. Wow. So I became friends with a guy called John Langridge, who's the writer and director of 13 Graves, and he'd written some of it, but he had this stumbling block about what happens at a certain point. And then we met each other, and I was that answer as to what happened at a certain point. They meet me in a forest. The gangsters meet me in a forest, a supernatural force, and I give them a choice, and they make the wrong choice, and it goes on from there. So it was an independent, relatively low budget, full-length feature, but we secured sales and distribution by Evolutionary Films. We showed that a small production company can produce cinema-worthy films. You know, that was our aim.
That's amazing. And what is your character? You play the woodsman, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I play the character of the woodsman, who, I don't want to give too much away.
Yes.
But I play a supernatural force of nature, let's say the spirit of the woods, if you will.
That's awesome.
Cool.
I was gonna say, it almost reminded me, I don't know if you play video games, but Wolf Among Us, how it's kind of like a dark play on like fairy tales.
I've heard of Wolf Among Us and not played it. I've been playing Spider-Man loads, actually.
Oh, that new one for the PS4? I heard
yeah.
I heard that's amazing.
Oh, it's freaking amazing. I turned it off about 10 minutes ago, actually.
Didn't you say you almost bought a PS4?
I kind of still want to buy a PS4 just for that game.
I still want one, but yeah, I want to play that game.
The PS4s are worth it for the Batman Arkham series. Just awesome. And the cool thing about Spider-Man is that it's essentially the Batman Arkham games reskinned to be Spider-Man. So the combat's very similar, the open world's very similar. So I knew I was immediately going to love it.
Nice. Did you play the Telltale Batman?
I did. I didn't dig that so much.
Really? See, I loved it. I thought it was great, but I still have a PS3, and there's a glitch in it where you can't beat the game. You can't finish the game. No. It just like freezes on you in the last chapter, and I was like, oh, I was so mad. I played it twice, and it's same thing happened. So I was like,
that's
I'm done.
Brutal.
Yeah.
No, I'd have thrown a controller through a window if that happened. So
that's how I felt. I did. I loved the Vicky Vale part of it, like how she was like the mastermind villain in it. It was badass. It was badass.
You know, they closed their studio. They're done. They're not around
anymore.
Yeah,
that's what I heard. I think.
Yeah.
I forget how long ago I was at GameStop, and the guys there working there were saying that they were on the verge of doing it because I guess from what they said, like people just got sick of their games, like the same gameplay type of thing. But they made some great games. They had a Game of Thrones one. They had The Wolf Among Us and the Walking Dead ones. I love them.
Yeah, The Walking Dead, that was theirs, wasn't it?
Yes. I thought they put out some really great games, but I don't know.
There we go. You know, supply and demand. The demand wasn't there in the end.
Yes. Greg, I want to ask you too. Your part in Guitar Hero Live, because that's another one I played. Like, is it different acting for like a video game than it is acting for like a film or something? Like, is there any difference or?
So because of the nature of Guitar Hero Live, I suppose no, there wasn't really any difference other than the fact
that's what I figured,
that you are talking directly to the camera, whereas when you act in a film or TV, you never look down the pipe, you never look into the camera lens. Whereas because you're talking to the player, then you've got to look straight down the pipe. So the guy that I was performing opposite was wearing this kind of helmet cam over his head, and he was playing the guitars, and he had to keep looking down. Very awkward. His name was Aaron. Very, very awkward for Aaron, but he did a fantastic job doing that. Awesome. But no, it was no different really. Okay. It was. I didn't actually know what gig it was until I arrived on set that day, because it was so secret. Beg your pardon. Because it was the first game to do what it did, a full live interaction video game. So it was, you know, the NDA was absolutely massive that I had to sign. But I mean that it was an awesome process of how I won that, and that really is what kickstarted me into. It was Guitar Hero that kickstarted me into thinking, I want to do this professionally now. I want to make my living doing this, because
that's awesome. I was gonna say even just like to beat out other people for it, because it was just you. Like it had to be a different feeling than like just a regular audition.
So I mean, I'm not going to lie, this is a cool story and it makes me feel good and I love telling it, so I'm going to tell you guys. Awesome. I was contacted directly. This was before I had an agent. I was on a platform called Star Now, which is a real low-level casting platform over here in England. I received a message saying, hey, we'd like to audition you for an interactive video. Can you come up to London? I took a chance. I took the day off work. Rode up to London on my motorbike. It's about 60 miles or so. Okay. Rode up to London on my motorbike and went into the audition and performed. What was interesting about it was the breakdown was, we're looking for someone high energy with an American accent, a bit like Jack Black. So all the way up to London, I'm practicing my American accent by narrating my journey on the way up there. I get into the studio. I can't remember the name of the studio. It was North London. Walk into the green room, and there sat in the corner was an American guy that was the spitting fucking image of Jack Black. And I just thought, oh shit, well this is it. I haven't got this now. There were loads of other Americans there, a couple of guys from California. Wow. And I'm not gonna lie to you. My confidence was knocked the moment I heard them. I was just like, shit. Well, they've got it. Why are they going to hire an English guy to do that? So, but I was there. You know, I'd had some cake and a cup of tea, so because we're very British over here. So I went up into the audition room. There were two ladies in there and a video camera, and I was just very honest with them, and I said, look, I don't think I should do this in an American accent, because you've got Americans downstairs. Can I do it in a British accent? And the ladies were like, well, they've said ideally American, but you know, if that's what you want to do, do it. And that's some scary words. If that's what you want to do, do it.
Yeah.
You know, because you just think
you can fuck yourself over in that instant.
Right. So So I said, am I allowed to go off script? Am I allowed to improvise? And they said, well, this doesn't say you can't, so go ahead. And I was, you know, in for a penny, in for a pound. So I did. I performed the stage direction, performed the lines, direct to camera, and I improvised a little bit. And 3 or 4 days later, they said we'd hear the next day. Didn't hear a thing. 3 or 4 days later, I get a phone call from the production saying they loved your audition. They want to offer you the role. And I was like, no fucking way. And we're filming, by the way, we're filming on Monday. Can you come up? Yeah, of course I can. So,
wow, that's amazing.
That's crazy because
Greg.
you already assumed you didn't get it because
Yeah,
they told you were
just
going
like
to
you
get it
said,
the
3
next
days
day.
later. Wow. Greg, we
So-
have to. Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. So this is the bit I wanted to say because it's a little bit narcissistic, but I got to remind myself that I can do this occasionally. When I met the production team, I said to them, "Look, guys, I'm really confused. You wanted high energy American Jack Black, and you plumped for me." And they said, "We know what we wanted until we saw your performance, and we wanted you."
Wow.
And that's just like,
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Bravo, Greg.
and
That is.
you know, as an actor, that's validation that.
You turn
I-
them. You turn
Yeah,
them right there.
I think as an actor, it's fair to say we blag it a lot. You know, lots of actors, even A-lists, they still are nervous when they go into an audition, or you know, maybe they're not quite cut out for it. So to hear that, really, okay, maybe I do know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of feeling.
I love that, dude.
It's like Robert Downey Jr. changing the way we view Iron Man.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he was a screw up, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was blacklisted from like Hollywood for a while. Like,
And then he did, like,
Yeah.
he got that role, and then they changed the way Iron Man was in the
Yeah.
comic books to, like, resemble Robert Downey
Yeah.
Jr.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, can we imagine anyone else in that role now?
no, not at all.
No.
Not at all. Greg, we have to wrap this up, but it has been
Oh, no worries, guys.
amazing talking to you, my friend. Where can everybody find you?
Okay, so you can hit me up on my social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, just simply at Greg Draven. Or if you want to hunt me down on Facebook, I'm Greg Draven Actor on Facebook. Drop me a like. And I love engaging with people and talking with people. I always make sure that I respond to comments and engage with people that want to get to know me.
Awesome, my friend. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks for having me on your show, guys. It's been fun.